Hello, folks. Welcome back. This is Chris in Central Pennsylvania. The stupidity of systemic state-enforced racism in South Africa rears its ugly head once again as Cricket South Africa's racist rules undermine the integrity of the sport. For reflection, let's take a look at the United States. The National Football League is 65% black players. America is 11% black. The National Basketball Association is 78% black. America is 11% black. Should we introduce quotas to have an accurate representation of the population, given that 75% of America is white? Should 75% of the players in the NFL be white instead of just 30%? Should 75% of the players in the NBA be white instead of just 9%? Maybe 12% include foreigners. Should we introduce quotas? Well, of course not. People should play based on their talent, not based on their skin pigmentation. On Monday afternoon, Cricket South Africa confirmed that the Warriors lost their playoff spot after being docked match points due to a breach of the Cricket South Africa administrative conditions policies. According to the regulations, teams are mandated to have 6 players of color in their starting teams, 3 of whom must be black Africans. I guess the other people of color could be Indian or colored. Now, the Warriors only fielded 2 in their match against the Dolphins on the 16th of February. However, a CSA press release on Sunday initially confirmed the Warriors would take on the Titans in the qualifier for Wednesday's match to decide who would face Boland in Division I final this coming Sunday. After the latest developments, the Dolphins, who lost to the Warriors by 126 runs on the day in question, will now host the Titans at Kingsmead instead. This breach pertains specifically to Clause 3.2.2 of the CSA administrative conditions, which requires teams to field a minimum of 3 black African players in the starting 11. Why? The NBA doesn't have a rule of a minimum of 2 white players on the court. The sanctions imposed include the loss of match points. Thus, the Warriors will forfeit all match points for the match in question, and Dolphins will be awarded 4 match points from the fixture. However, no bonus points will be allocated. A monetary fine, which has not been disclosed, has also been included, with 50% payable before the end of the current financial year. The remaining 50% will be suspended for 5 years and will only be activated if a similar breach occurs within that period. What? You're going to fine them because they didn't have enough black players on the court? As a direct consequence of this sanction, Warriors will no longer qualify for the One-Day Cup playoff, altering the competition's final standings. The Dolphins now move to second place in the log, which they didn't earn, and will host the Titans in a playoff game that they shouldn't be playing in. Wow. The Cricket South Africa head of domestic cricket, Eddie Khoza, confirmed to News 24 that the Warriors' failure to communicate their inability to meet their transformation targets was a reason for them missing out on the one-day playoffs. He explained the teams had played without meeting the requirements previously, but you have to tell Cricket South Africa that you haven't met the target and beg for forgiveness. But in the Warriors' case, they didn't tell anybody, and so they must be punished. Liberal white apologists and black supremacists for the historically disadvantaged narrative need to open their eyes and realize that the indignity and inherent unfairness of race-based laws and policies that harm everyone, including the so-called protected class. And some athletes wonder why they're viewed as quota hires, not the talented athletes that they might be. The absurdity of racial policies plays out daily in South Africa. When black investors sought to profit from the increased value of their equity in Burger King, their sale to foreign investors was blocked by the South African government because having white people buy the equity would lower black ownership, and you can't have that. So the black people couldn't get wealthy over the value of their increased investment because white people can't buy it. So the government preventing blacks from realizing wealth. That's just stupid. And the following is a golden oldie from my original censored YouTube channel about the lunacy of race policies in netball. Hey folks, welcome back to Job Africa. This is Chris, and this time I don't know what to say. I mean, this is just beyond belief, just the cloud cuckoo land world that South Africa is. The trolls and the racists and bigots who come onto channels like this and try to play the little provocative games about, well, you only ever do this for white people, or you only ever do this for that, you only ever do this. Those who watch this channel know that that's utter nonsense. But let me just put some focus for you once again. So when I complain about quotas in sports, I make the point that it's stupid. You pick the best players for the game. If you're not happy that certain people aren't amongst the best players, then perhaps you ought to take a look at how you develop kids and how you develop the sport at the youth level. And then you'll develop the talent across all ethnicities who are interested in the game. But let's talk about this. So netball. For those of you outside the Commonwealth, though unfamiliar with the game, it's kind of like basketball on a court with a ball about the size of a volleyball. that mostly girls play netball. And so it's very popular, and it's actually quite lucrative, and it's a professional sport in other Commonwealth countries like Australia and the United Kingdom. And so athletes from South Africa can make a lucrative living, young ladies working abroad playing the sport. But let's talk about what just happened here, folks. A couple of days ago, the Mpumalanga Sunbirds were eliminated from the Telecom Netball League, the TNL, after breaching transformation rules. Come again? Breaching transformation rules? Uh-oh, folks. It sounds like the Sunbirds had too many white girls on their team, right? I'll bet that's what you're thinking. Those evil, racist Sunbirds, the Mpumalanga Sunbirds, had too many white people on their team, right? Wrong. Very wrong. You'd be mistaken if you think that the problem was they had too many white people. They had too many black girls on their team. Come again? I thought transformation was about handing everything over to majority South Africans based on skin pigmentation. Apparently it's not. The Mpumalanga Sunbirds were docked points for fielding too many black players, which cost them their Division II semifinal in the Telecom Netball League. Yes, folks, they were eliminated. Now, you're going to love this. Actually not. You're going to find this hysterical, though. This comes after they were forced to forfeit their match against the Kingdom Queens in their first Division B semifinal, which they won 43-42. So the ladies won the game 43-42, only to be stripped of their victory. The team were docked for fielding too many black players during the second quarter of their match, and as a result, were deemed to have lost the match 42-0. So, whoa. So they don't dock the points from the part of the game when they didn't have enough white players, but only for one quarter. They lost everything. So they had too many black players on the court during the second quarter. Not the entire second quarter, not the entire half, not the entire game. They had too many black players on the court for a period during the second quarter. As a consequence, in a semifinal game to go to the championship, to the final of the Telecom Netball League, they are eliminated. They took away all 43 points. Folks, you can't make this lunacy up. This is beyond comprehension. Yet another example of the stupidity of playing the race game and how unfair it is. At first blush, many folks would assume that I may be objecting because of discrimination against minorities. But my objection is to the idiocy of applying race-based transformation goals to social engineer teams' composition without regard to talent. The Mpumalanga Sunbirds defeated the Kingdom Queens 43-42 in this game nearly 5 years ago in their Telecom Netball League First Division B semifinal. Only, they didn't win the game. The Sunbirds were stripped of all their points, and the victory was handed over to the Queens because the Sunbirds fielded too many white players, right? Nope. They fielded too many black players for a portion of a single period. Come again? Only in a country so obsessed with race like the ANC South Africa could such a travesty occur. So what's the lesson here for the players? Talent and drive don't matter. Just make sure you have one of these and one of those and one of these. This is patently unfair and disgraceful, and it must end. This is from 5 years ago. The only way this lunacy ends is with the ANC out of government. Hashtag the world must know what is happening in South Africa. But you see, folks, Donald Trump is misinformed. The Americans are attacking South Africa. They're punishing South Africa. No. The ANC punishes all South Africans, black, white, and brown, with their race-driven policies, which harm everyone. No one's uplifted by this nonsense. If you want to uplift the historically disadvantaged, fix the schools. End the crime wave, ensure public safety, and stop race baiting and race hustling. And for God's sake, get rid of the race-based laws. The absurdity of it is unbelievable. People get to advance when they didn't earn it. These girls were denied an opportunity to show their stuff and earn scholarships or make it to professional teams and make a living off of sport because people didn't see them because they were cheated out of the victory that they won. Disgraceful. Shame. What say you, South Africa? Cheers.